You will be the soldiers of World War III. I'm talking to everyone in a NATO country between the ages of 18 and 26 years old. Listen closely. Share this with everyone because this isn't hypothetical anymore. This is where we are headed. Right now, Russia has officially abandoned all peace talks and declared the total destruction of Ukraine as its goal. NATO is mobilizing, the U.S. is deploying assets in Europe, marking the most comprehensive defense posture since the Cold War. And tensions, they're stretching thinner by the hour. You think you'll have a choice? Think again. The moment Article 5 is triggered, everything changes. There will be a draft, and this time, they're not going to ask. And here's the real truth as to why America isn't ready. Europe isn't ready. If this escalates, survival won't just mean avoiding the front lines. It'll mean enduring chaos here at home. Economic collapse, civil unrest, supply chain failure. Because when the system breaks, and it will, war becomes local. And as a father, I will say this plainly. I will not let my sons die in a war built by the mistakes of men in suits. Not for NATO, not for global posturing, not for lies wrapped in flags. Truth as to why America isn't ready. Europe isn't ready. If this escalates, survival won't just mean avoiding the front lines. It'll mean enduring chaos here at home. Economic collapse, civil unrest, supply chain failure. Because when the system breaks, and it will, war becomes local. And as a father, I will say this plainly. I will not let my sons die in a war built by the mistakes of men in suits. Not for NATO, not for global posturing, not for lies wrapped in flags. So you better start thinking now. Because if this continues, the question isn't if war is coming. It's how soon.
Shalom, to the elect of Israel. I'm going to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, ever well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect of Israel. And this lesson is going into this video I came across by this man, or this channel, where this is on, called Appalachian Prepper. It says the draft is coming and no one's ready. All right. And he said, what he said here, it says, the caption, it says, this isn't conspiracy, it's global positioning for war. Russia has declared total war. NATO is mobilizing, and the next soldiers won't be volunteers, they'll be you. Because what is a draft? The draft is compulsory, which means mandatory. All right? It's required. Okay? And as we've been prophesying here in Great Millstone, that there is going to be a draft. Okay? The draft, is coming. And we have told you before about people. We've told you before about draft and everything like that. Okay. And the scriptures talk about it, but this man also said, doesn't only mean that. It doesn't only mean avoiding the front lines. Let me let him say it one more time.
If this escalates, survival won't just mean avoiding the front lines. It'll mean enduring chaos here at home.
They said if it escalates the war, it won't be survival. Survival won't be just avoiding the front lines. It'll be avoiding danger at home.
Economic collapse, civil unrest, supply chain failure.
Which is all coming. Economic collapse, civil unrest. As you see, with the SNAP thing, they're talking about riots and supply chain failure, which I believe is going into there not being enough food and everything. All right. So these things are coming. Okay. And let me get that, about not, enough, no food, supply chain failure. Let me just try to look these terms up real quick. For 1 second. Actually, let's look up economic collapse definition. It says economic collapse is a severe and prolonged downturn in economic activity characterized by a breakdown of normal commerce and social chaos. It is a more extreme event than a recession, often resulting from financial crises, political instability, or currency rises, and leads to outcomes like high unemployment, which is going on right now. You know, widespread business failures and social unrest. It said it includes financial breakdown. This can include the failure of major financial firms, a collapse in stock and real estate markets, or a currency crisis where a pegged exchange rate fails. Severe recession or depression. A collapse is a more extreme version of a recession. All right, sometimes referred to as a depression with a deep and extended decline in economic activity like GDP, which stands for gross domestic product, employment and investment. Social instability, high unemployment, increased poverty, and the loss of public trust can lead to social unrest, protests, and civil disorder. And we all know what can be called to quell civil disorder: martial law. Breakdown of commerce. Normal business transactions and commerce can break down due to factors like hyperinflation, which is, for example, you walk in the store and see a loaf of bread costing 80 to 90 bucks, giving an example. It says, or complete loss, and Apostle Tahar has been talking about that, in the past. The hyperinflation is coming. Because now, we know what inflation is. Okay? Where the prices go up. Think about hyper inflation. That's going to be trouble. It says, or a complete loss of confidence in the financial system. All right? So that's what economic collapse is. All these different things, unemployment, civil unrest. It says collapse in stock and real estate markets. Everyone, to talk about buying stocks and stuff. Okay. What else did he say? I can still pull it up.
Bring chaos here at home. Economic collapse, civil unrest, supply chain failure.
Supply chain failure. Let's look that up. A supply chain failure is a disruption or inefficiency in the flow of goods and services caused by internal factors like poor planning and labor shortages, which can come from what? Economic collapse. It says, which is what as we read, high unemployment. Okay. It says, or external event. Well, it says down here, labor shortages, a lack of workers, and critical is unemployment, high unemployment. So back up top, it says, or external events like natural disasters, geopolitical instability, and cyber attacks. All these different things here. Okay. That, and then, what was the last one he said? Slovakia. Civil unrest.
Supply chain failure.
It says civil unrest is collective violence or public disturbance, often arising from political, social, or economic issues like discrimination or police brutality. So civil unrest can, come from different things, okay? And the scriptures talk about these things, okay? The scriptures, do go into, unemployment. The scriptures do go into, what else? Supply chain failure, no food and stuff like that. Let me type this in. Does supply chain failure lead to no food in stores? I said store. But it says, let's wait for it. It says, yes, a supply chain failure can absolutely lead to no food in stores, though it is one of many potential consequences and can manifest in different ways. The modern food supply chain is a complex and highly interconnected system, and a breakdown at any point can trigger and I'm going to read the last part again. And a breakdown at any point can trigger shortages that spread to retail shelves. All right. And we know what the scriptures talk about, man. Let me get that real quick. That's talked about. This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay? You know? The store is being found empty, man. Now you can't get anything out the store. Now you can't get that stuff. Right? And the scriptures talk about a famine. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Okay? So that lets you know that there's going to be a famine. And this chapter is a very prophetic chapter. Okay? That goes into Jacob's trouble in World War III. Things are going to be happening around that time and during that time. 2nd Ezra 15, 1 through 6. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. All right? So the words, these prophecies, these scriptures are faithful and true, and that's why you see them happening. That's why you see things going on. That's why you see them happening in the world today. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them, which means disbelief, trouble thee that speak against thee. So these people that, have come up against us and continue to come up against us, trying to mock us and scoff and all of that stuff, that's not going to bother us. Verse 4, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. That's what the Lord is doing. He's bringing the plagues on the world. All right, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, and that's what's going on. Turn on the news, look at it. That's what's going on. Why? Verse 6, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Wickedness done, gone rampant, man. Okay? And it says, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So it's time. Okay? It's time. The world is feeling that stuff is about to get worse. Okay? And as he said, basically, during that time of World War III and everything, it's not only going to, survival isn't going to be just not getting drafted. It's also going to have to do with, dealing, surviving at home. Okay? This is 2nd Ezra 15, because stuff is going to get bad, man. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 18. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. The cities are going to be troubled. You're going to have a whole lot of chaos and trouble going on within the cities. Civil unrest, you see? And all of this is going to cause, people to be afraid. This is the times that we're coming into, because stuff is still so-called normal right now, so-called, but it looks like it's about to change. With everything going on, man, it looks like it's about to change, I feel like 2026 is going to be one hell of a year, man. One hell of a year, This is what's coming, okay? This is what's coming, man. All right, another thing with that whole EBT thing, these things can lead to famine quick. Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, meaning the grave. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth, Jacob's trouble. That's what's going to be going on in that time. That's what's going to be going on. So, and of course, we know there's going to be the draft. All right, this 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verses 33 through 34. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. So these women, all right, eventually they're going to end up being alone. Why? Verse 34. And the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. All right, so ultimately what this is saying is these men out here, these average regular men, these niggas and everything, they're gonna be gone. Okay, they're gonna get drafted and they're gonna go out in the war. All right, gonna go out to World War III and they're gonna fight because there's gonna be a third world war, right? And there's gonna be a draft. And these regular, men out here that's not men of the Lord, they're gonna get drafted out there and they're going to be, as it says, be destroyed. It says, and their husbands shall perish of famine. And then once again, famine. Okay, so a lot of their boyfriends and husbands are going to be dying off of famine. So where is that going to leave these women? Unprotected. And you see why, you see basically part of the reason why they're going to be running to the men of the Lord. Because think about it, if they're out here without men, okay, this just makes this precept, just seem more clear if you don't understand it. Isaiah 32:2. And a man shall, because look, a woman without a man is vulnerable. Anything can happen to her. She can't really defend for herself. She can't do any of those things really. And if she does, she ain't gonna get far. You see? So this is Isaiah 32:2. And a man, so this should let you know from what we just read, this is no ordinary man. This is an elect man. Shall be as an hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Okay, so these so a man of the Lord, when all hell breaks loose, it's going to be like a sense of, for a woman to find a man of the Lord, basically what this is saying is an elect man is going to be like a safe haven to these women during this chaotic time we're coming into. So all this, I don't need a man, all that stuff is going to go out the window. And you see it, you see it, man. I see them cutting off EBT and all of that stuff and Snap. It's over with. Game over. Just wait till things get more dire. And I saw one woman saying, that most of us women, she was talking about herself and other women. She said, most of us women make more than these men, so we good. All right. Now wait till things get more dire and money doesn't matter anymore. That's a script. Because, some of these, broads out here, they do got, nice jobs and all of that. But Proverbs 11:4, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. Okay? What is your riches going to profit you or benefit you when all hell is breaking loose? Are you going to eat your money? Or are you going to spend it? On what? On people that are going to take. You're going to need protection and guidance. You see? So, this is coming, man. Babylon is a powder keg about to blow. Okay, this is a powder keg about to blow, man. I was talking with a brother, ever since the beginning of this year, it's just been on it, man. It's just been on it. Ever since the beginning of this year, it's just been on it. So, hey, brothers, we already know what's going on, We already know what the game plan is. We know where this stuff is heading. We've been new this. Okay, this ain't new to us. All right, we've been new this. We was just patiently waiting. So unless just keep on patiently waiting and holding on, because this stuff is about to get real. All right. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And by the way, before I end, just getting another scripture showing you that World War III is going to happen. I go to these scriptures a lot, these specific ones, Revelation 8:13. And I beheld and heard an angel, this is the Apostle John receiving a vision. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, 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 and it says woe, which means death and destruction, and it says it 3 times. Because there was prophesied to be 3 world wars to take place on the earth. It says to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. Revelation 11:14. The second one was past, right? World War II is past. And behold, the third woe, or the third world war, cometh quickly. Peace, salutations, peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.